Hello, my loop friends. Welcome to Live Loopers. I'm Alex. And I am nearing the finish line. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I have been working on my perfect looper of my dreams that can do all of the things that I need to do to make the music that is inside of me screaming to get out. I am creating a thing called the Phoenix template. And I am at the point now where I need to figure out what am I going to use for drums. I have narrowed it down to 3 choices. Koala Sampler, awesome. BeatSurfing2, awesome. And Loopy Pro itself can be used and is also awesome. So I need to look at some of the pros and cons of each of those and make a decision. It's no secret, I love Loopy Pro. Loopy Pro lets you do so many things and lets you do them so easily. And if I was going to try to put my finger on like maybe one drawback of Loopy Pro, it might be that it lets you do so many things. I mean, it's got no guardrails. It's like Loopy Pro is like that one friend where if you're like, dude, let's get like really ripped and like wander naked through the dangerous side of town at 4 a.m. Loopy Pro is like, dude, let's go. Which is to say, like, it won't stop you from doing whatever idea you have, no matter how. If you show up in the Loopy Pro community and you're like, oh man, dude, I'm trying to load like 8 concurrent instances of Drambo and Loopy Pro keeps crashing. Why does it keep crashing? It's like, perhaps you should stop trying to do that. But anyway, I am a person who loves samples. And I need a way to play my samples, and I keep trying to find the best way because when Loopy Pro came out, got this really old iPad, and it doesn't like to, open a whole bunch of sample players at the same time. The sample players can be kind of resource heavy, especially if you're trying to load big samples, so I have become very expert at getting my joy and satisfaction out of little tiny samples, like finding sounds that I really love but that are short sounds. That's one thing I can do to help. But in the past, that iPad has not handled like opening all the sample players, and so it like forces me into this decision of like which one do I choose, and I have gone back and forth trying to like be like, oh, in this template I'll choose this one, and in this template I'll choose the other one, and then that's a little tough to deal with. I really would like to just get used to which one I want to use. So I need some kind of strategy for deciding how I'm going to evaluate these things. What I've decided to go with is I'm just going to figure out which features are most important to me and then parse through which of these 3 contenders is best at each. Starting with which one sounds the best. And this is not at all a fair comparison.
Well, who says life is fair?
Because really, in any sample playing app, it's going to sound best in which app you made it in. And so that's going to give Koala Sampler an unfair advantage because Koala Sampler makes it so easy to make all my samples that that's just what I'm going to use to make all my samples. And so they all sound the best in Koala. Playing them back in Koala, it feels like they just sound kind of like perfect. And if you play them back in BeatSurfing2 or Loopy Pro, they sound different, like a tiny bit off. And yes, you can go in and tweak them. You can tweak the sound in either of those 2 until they sound better. But they never quite get to that, perfection. And maybe if I was recording my samples in Loopy Pro, and I don't even know if BeatSurfing2 has a way to record samples relevant. But anyway, I had to give it to Koala for this one. Next on our list of important features is customizability. Can you rearrange it and make it so that it's easiest to use and put everything where it's very accessible and easy to get to? Koala Sampler? No. There are plenty of times where I just say to myself, I wish I could just this area where it's like, select the mic or select resample, and like, why is this taking up so much space? I just want to squish it down and I can't. And also there's things like I love slidey drums. I love slidey drums so much, and I just recently found out that Koala Sampler lets me do the slidey drums, so I'm just so happy about that. But the pads are so close together, and I just wish there was a way that like you could space out the pads so that I could do kitty corner slides a lot easier. In Koala Sampler, you're just kind of locked into like, what you get is what you get. This is what we gave you, and you got it, and there it is. BeatSurfing2, oh my goodness, you can move, you can put everything, you know, as close, as far, you can like change how it looks. And Koala Sampler, like there's some little, like you can change the background picture and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that, you know, there's no customization that you can do, but like BeatSurfing2, my maps for BeatSurfing2, they look like this, and they look like this, and they look like this. And I mean, just you could just, what if, you know, whatever your imagination is coming up with, that's what you can have. Loopy Pro, not so much with the graphics and all that, but still, like, it lets you choose whatever pad size you want. I can make these pads like really huge and big. So in terms of layout, I would say that Loopy Pro really has the most useful in terms of being able to customize it for usability. BeatSurfing2 also just really awesome. And Koala Sampler, I understand that like it's, you know, it's cross-platform and it's got like a whole lot of different operating systems to support, and so it's harder to do that. And you know, it's not, I'm not mad at it, but it doesn't let me glide my fingers around in quite the way that the other two will. But while I'm mentioning slidey drums, I will say that that is actually a huge, I don't even know how to categorize this, but there are two characteristics that sort of work together in this weird and interesting way. One is like slide drums, and the other is quantization. Quantization is awesome, and people who love real tight quantization, you know, I want you to have what you need to do what you want to do in this world. But me, I love to be able to mess up my time and not have it corrected. I love to like not be perfect. I love to just do the best that I can do, and then just have my actual human failings show up in my music. I love that. But in terms of taking the training wheels off and letting me hear back what it is that I actually played exactly, Loopy Pro is just the chef's kiss. Mwah! And BeatSurfing2 also will let you take the quantization completely off fairly easily. It's fairly easy to find where you go in and take the quantization off, and lets you hear back what you actually played. But BeatSurfing2 will not save it. There's like no good save state. Like every time you restart and every time you come back in, you have to like reset your quantization setting back to off again. A bit of an annoyance. And a bit even more annoying than that is that if you switch templates in BeatSurfing2, it tells you you can only open one instance of BeatSurfing2 at a time, which in my mind, technically, I'm not trying to open two instances. I'm just trying to close one and then open another new one, and you just won't let me. But BeatSurfing2 has so many other quality features that I am willing to look the other way on that and just be like kind of annoying, but still. And Koala also will let you turn off quantization and just play it the way you're playing it, and you know, no issues with that. Now, in terms of uniquenesses, things that one program might have that the other two don't have, let me tell you, Koala Sampler has always had the nice effects screen on board right there ready to go. and you can just go in there and affect your samples, throw effects on it, just all within the same audio unit. And now Koala Sampler has added this new mixer screen, which is just levels and levels even better than that. The effects are just so good and so cool. So, I mean, that just makes me just want to use Koala so much. BeatSurfing2 has all of these awesome widgets, and the more I dig in, the more I find these like really cool widgets, so that you don't have to have just, pads that just play one sample. It has this little widget where you can load in 2 different samples, and then the higher or lower, up or down you touch it, like the more you get of one sample and the less you get of the other. So cool. And look at this little widget. You can make it's got a dividing line down the middle, so if you slide into it from the left, it makes this sample, and if you slide into it from the right, it makes the other sample. So neat. That's not even the best one, because look at this one that's called Shake 5 that lets you, it's like directional, depending on which direction you're going inside of the widget depends on which of these different 5 samples that it will play, and it just sounds so nice and crispy and delicious. Point being that BeatSurfing2 has so many cool widgets to discover, and it's like a whole different way of playing your samples. It's once you get into it, it's really hard to give it up. And then Loopy Pro, in terms of looking for a sample player to play inside of Loopy Pro has the advantage of being Loopy Pro. And in so being, it has all of that wonderful Loopy Pro customization. You can just tweak it. If anything about it that you don't really like, you can just resize it and reposition it, and you can, however many pads you do or don't want, I mean, you just you just make it your own. You figure out what you want and you just put it there. I do totally wish it had slidey drums, and I have never found a way to make it so that it can have slidey drums. And as I said, it doesn't have the different graphics that you can put in it, but other than that, there's just so much customization that you can do with Loopy Pro. It just makes it wonderful, and I have said in the past that I have very much thought about trying to just make a Loopy Pro control surface to play, and then have it actually playing the samples in Koala. And I still been too lazy to do that, quite honestly, but I might do that someday in the future. But for now, I probably should tell you what I concluded in terms of my decision. This whole decision-making process is a little bit weird because I've been filming things sort of out of sequence, and actually I was needing to make this decision not now here in the present, but a month and a half ago. So I've had all this time to sort of figure it out, and what I have come to figure out over that span of time is that actually my new iPad that I have, much to my surprise, can play all 3 of them and load all 3 of them in simultaneously and not have problems, which is weird to me because I was used to having this old thing that couldn't do that. Now this new iPad seems to be able to handle loading in all 3 just fine. It's helped by the fact that I keep my samples small. So for the Phoenix template, I am cautiously proceeding with loading in all 3. If you have an older iPad and you want to use the Phoenix template with it, you might encounter problems. I'm not sure, and you might have to sort of surgically extricate one or more of these sample players if they are giving you a hard time. But for me, I am going to skip along, sauntering into the future with all 3 of these good buddies of mine hand in hand, making sample delicious goodness. Into the future we go. If you watch this whole video and you still like me and want to see more videos related to looping, you can subscribe. If you're not subscribed, you can definitely click the like button, because that does help. If you watch videos on YouTube, you probably hear people say, click the like button, it helps share the video out. They're not wrong. It really does. Alright, my rap name is Alex. And loop on, my loop friends, loop on.